Everyone wants to be happy, but most don't even know what that means. We chase noise, numb ourselves with pleasure, and call it life. The Stoics? They chose something different, something deeper, and it began with silence. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor. Seneca. They told you happiness was out there, in a career, in a house, in 6 figures, in someone else's arms. They sold you a version of happiness that always seems to shimmer just beyond your reach. A moving target, a hungry ghost. You chase, you achieve, you upgrade. But deep down, you're still waiting to feel whole. This is not failure. This is programming. And until you dismantle that programming, until you burn the lie down to ash, you will never touch true happiness. The Stoics saw through the illusion centuries ago. They did not chase pleasure. They did not fear pain. They built something far more permanent, contentment carved in stone. This is not just philosophy, it is war. A war against everything modern life seduces you with. And the first step to becoming a happy person is to realize you have been lied to about what happiness truly is. 1. The lie of external fulfillment. We are taught from the beginning, be someone, do something big, get rewarded. But the Stoics were not impressed by titles or trophies. They measured life not by what you get, but by what you become. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. Here's the truth. If your happiness depends on anything outside of you, it is not yours. It is rented. And anything that can be taken from you will be wealth, temporary, fame, fleeting, love from others, unreliable. The Stoic doesn't reject these things. He just doesn't build his soul on them. He builds on virtue. He builds on self-command, because those are the only things the world can't touch. 2. The pleasure trap. Pleasure is not the enemy, but the need for pleasure? That's a cage. We are surrounded by it, packaged in pixels and likes, sugar and dopamine, alcohol and noise. But pleasure without purpose is a drug, and the withdrawal is always regret. Seneca wrote, "Pleasure, unless it is controlled, is the worst kind of slavery." Look closely. The happiest moments in your life were probably not the most pleasurable. They were the most meaningful. A breakthrough, a moment of courage, a choice that cost you something, but left your soul quiet. That is what the Stoic pursues. Not a spike in sensation, but a steady fire of integrity. Not a life of high notes and hangovers, but one of clarity, service, and self-respect. That is the soil where true happiness grows. 3. The inner judge is the only one that matters. You can spend your life performing for others, getting applause, looking happy. But Stoicism demands a harder question. When no one is watching, are you proud of who you are? The modern world rewards surface. The Stoic seeks substance. Epictetus said, "Seek not for events to happen as you wish, but wish them to happen as they do, and your life will go smoothly." This is radical. It means letting go of needing the world to like you, letting go of needing everything to go your way. It means replacing expectation with alignment, choosing the right thing over the easy thing, even when no one will see. Because real happiness is not a mood. It's a reputation with your own soul. 4. Accepting that life is not meant to please you. Modern culture says, you deserve to be happy. But the Stoic replies, no, you deserve to be strong. Why? Because life will not bow to your emotions. It will test you, break you, throw storms you didn't ask for. But the Stoic does not demand that life be easy. He demands that he be ready. Don't hope that events will turn out the way you want. Welcome events in whichever way they happen. Turn on Epictetus. This isn't passivity, it's power. Because once you stop resisting what is, you start focusing on what can be done. And action is the antidote to despair. Happiness is not found in a life without pain. It's found in a life where pain no longer owns you. 5. Freedom through limits. They told you freedom meant doing whatever you want, but the Stoic knows better. Real freedom is doing what is right, even when you don't feel like it. Discipline is not punishment, it is the path to peace. When you wake early, move your body, tame your tongue, guard your time, you aren't restricting yourself. You are liberating yourself from the chains of impulse. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus read that again. Because the moment you stop being ruled by your cravings, you start ruling your world. And the man who commands himself is never at the mercy of circumstance. 6. Facing the darkness without running. Every man has his shadows. Pain he hides, fear he masks, regret he avoids. And the world offers endless ways to distract from it. Scrolling, substances, shallow noise. But the Stoic walks the other way, straight into the fire. He journals, he reflects. He sits in silence long enough to hear his own heartbeat, because he knows the only way to happiness is through truth. There is no shortcut, no easy bypass, only the long road inward. You will weep, you will rage, but if you stay, if you refuse to run, you will come out with something the world cannot give you. Peace born of honesty, and that peace becomes your strength. 7. Practicing gratitude as armor. We don't feel happy because we're missing something. We feel unhappy because we've forgotten what we already have. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "When you arise in the morning, think of what a privilege it is to be alive, to breathe, to think, to enjoy, to love." Gratitude is not a journal exercise, it is armor. It shields you from envy. It grounds you in the now. It reminds you that while you may not control much, you do control what you focus on. And when you choose to see what's already good, even in hardship, you rob misery of its grip. Gratitude is rebellion, and the Stoic rebels every day. Closing chapter, the beginning of the ascent. So this is where the journey begins, not with more pleasure, not with more possessions, but with more ownership. The Stoic does not chase happiness. He builds a life so solid, so rooted, that happiness becomes a natural byproduct of how he lives. He does not chase feelings. He builds virtue. And from that virtue rises a life so stable, no storm can drown it. This is the first truth of becoming a happy person. Happiness is not a destination. It is the shadow cast by a disciplined life. We will go deeper. We will go darker. And in the next part of this series, we will explore the daily Stoic practices that forge that discipline, step by step, thought by thought. But for now, let this be the first fire. You do not need to feel happy to become happy. You need only to begin the path toward mastery. The rest will come. Part 2, the daily path. Stoic practices that build unshakable joy. We become what we repeatedly do. Aristotle, the Stoics lived this truth, even if they never claimed it. You don't become a happy man by reading quotes. You become one by building a life that proves them, a life that doesn't collapse under pressure, a life rooted in something deeper than mood, circumstance, or praise. This is the Stoic way, and it begins every day before the sun is even up. Not with motivation, not with hustle, but with practice. You do not control the chaos of the world, but you do control what you do with your attention, your energy, and your time. Daily practice is the soul of happiness. So now, we walk the path together. 1. Begin each day with premeditatio malorum, premeditation of evils. Most men are caught off guard by hardship, but the Stoic, he prepares for it every morning. He rehearses loss, imagines insult, prepares for delay, betrayal, and pain. The wise man looks ahead. He is not surprised when things go wrong. Seneca. This is not pessimism, it is immunity. When you start your day by facing what could go wrong, you strip misfortune of its sting. You walk into the world ready, not angry, not bitter, just armed. Say to yourself each morning, today I may face rudeness, I may be delayed, my plans may fail, and I will not be broken. You are not manifesting negativity. You are mastering resilience. 2. Practice voluntary discomfort. The world has grown soft. We chase ease like it's a virtue, but ease never built anything worth keeping, and the Stoics knew it. Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest and cheapest fare, while asking yourself, is this the condition I fear? Seneca fast. Sleep on the floor. Take cold showers. Walk instead of drive. Do the hard thing, not to suffer, but to strip fear of its power. When you choose discomfort voluntarily, you become less ruled by fear of pain. You become free. And in that freedom, you'll find a happiness no luxury can give you. 3. Cultivate present awareness, mindfulness without the buzzwords. The Stoic was the original master of presence, not because he meditated in temples, but because he refused to waste the now. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Confine yourself to the present." The modern world wants to drag you into everything. The past you can't change, the future you can't control, the opinions you can't fix. But the Stoic returns to one truth over and over. What's in front of me right now, and what is the right thing to do? Not what feels right, what is right. Whether it's washing a dish, leading a team, or holding your tongue, being present is being powerful. Stop multitasking. Stop checking your phone. Stop wishing the moment away. Live it. Because the only moment you ever truly own is this one. 4. Self-reflection before sleep. At the end of each day, the Stoic does not scroll. He does not escape. He returns to the mirror of the mind. I will keep constant watch over myself and, most usefully, will put each day up for review. Seneca 3 questions. What did I do well today? What did I do poorly? What can I do better tomorrow? No judgment, just honesty. This is where character is forged, not in noise, but in stillness. You learn to see your patterns. You learn to correct. And slowly you become the man you were pretending to be. Do this every night. 5 minutes is enough. But the truth you'll build over months, that will last a lifetime. 5. Speak less, say more. Epictetus was clear. We have 2 ears and 1 mouth so that we can listen twice as much as we speak. Talk less, listen deeper. Say only what is necessary, true, and useful. This is not passivity, it is power. Because most misery comes from impulsive words. Arguments started from ego. Lies told for comfort. Truths withheld from fear. The Stoic doesn't waste language. He doesn't flatter, gossip, or speak to fill silence. His words carry weight because his silence has meaning. Speak like everything you say is a reflection of your soul, because it is. 6. Do one thing. Each day you'd rather avoid discipline is built by doing what's hard, on purpose. The modern world rewards the dopamine loop. What feels good now, no matter the cost later. But the Stoic flips the equation. What must I do regardless of how I feel? Answer that every day, and then do it. One hard thing: send the message, have the tough conversation, say no to distraction, wake up early, train your body, finish the task. This isn't about suffering, it's about becoming trustworthy to yourself. Because happiness does not grow in the soil of avoidance. It grows in the soil of action. 7. Limit exposure to noise. Information, not just sound. The Stoic knew that too much input kills clarity. Marcus Aurelius warned himself daily, don't waste the rest of your life worrying about people who do not even care about you. Today that means shut off the news. Unfollow accounts that breed envy or outrage. Don't scroll first thing in the morning. Limit your inputs so your mind becomes your own again. You cannot hear your inner voice if your head is full of static. Choose quality over quantity, truth over trend, silence over stimulation, and you'll discover something most men never will. Peace is not something you find. It's what returns when you stop drowning in noise. 8. Serve something greater than yourself. The Stoics did not live for themselves. They lived for virtue, for community, for justice, for the soul of mankind. Modern life worships the self, but self-centeredness is a black hole. You feed it, and it only grows hungrier. True happiness comes not from self-indulgence, but from self-transcendence. Ask yourself, who benefits when I live with discipline? Who suffers when I don't? Whether it's your family, your community, your craft, live as though someone else's peace depends on your strength. Because it does. And when you align with something beyond your own cravings, your life becomes not just bearable, but meaningful. Closing, walk the path, brick by brick. This is the truth. You do not feel your way into happiness. You practice your way into it. Every repetition matters. Every choice adds up. Every small decision is a vote for the man you are becoming. There are no hacks here, no shortcuts, just the slow, sacred, daily carving of a stronger self. The Stoic doesn't wait for the world to calm down. He becomes calm within the world. He doesn't pray for an easier life. He builds himself into someone equal to the storm. And in that is joy. Not the sugar rush kind, not the Instagram filter kind, but the kind that cannot be stolen. Part 3, the Stoic definition of happiness, a life without regret. No man is free who is not master of himself. Epictetus. We've reached the end, but not the finish, because the Stoic path doesn't lead to applause or comfort. It leads to truth. And the highest truth in the Stoic mind is this: happiness is not pleasure. Happiness is freedom from regret. Not the shallow freedom of do what you want, but the deep soul-shaking peace of knowing you lived well when no one was watching. Let's be clear, we are not talking about temporary highs, not the weekend escape, not the likes on a post, not the sugary taste of validation. We are talking about the kind of happiness that cannot be stolen by time, loss, failure, or death. We are talking about eudaimonia, the Stoic ideal of a flourishing life, and it comes from one place: living in alignment with virtue. 1. Regret is a sign you betrayed yourself. Every man knows this feeling: the ache, the silent guilt, the whisper, you knew better. The Stoics never feared pain, but they feared regret. Regret is the wound that comes not from others, but from you. When you lie, when you shrink, when you act from impulse, when you betray your own values for short-term gain. That's when the mind turns against itself. That's when no amount of comfort or success can bring peace. No man is hurt but by himself. Diogenes Laertius, summarizing Zeno-regret, is a symptom. It means you left the path. The only cure is return, not to what's easy, but to what's right. 2. Virtue is the antidote to regret. In Stoicism, happiness is not pleasure, it is virtue in action. There are four cardinal virtues: wisdom, see clearly, judge rightly, courage, do what's right, even when it hurts. Temperance, control your desires. Justice, give to others what is due. Every regret is a crack in one of these four. Every joyful, peaceful moment, a result of living in alignment with them. So if you want a life without regret, live by the virtues. And if that sounds difficult, remember, if virtue promises happiness, prosperity, and peace, then progress in virtue is progress in each of these. Epictetus. To the Stoic, character is not a buzzword. It is the core of your being, and building it is the only rational goal. 3. Death is the ultimate reminder. Live now. If you want to escape regret, start by remembering you're not promised tomorrow. You could leave life right now. Let that determine what you do and say and think. Be Marcus Aurelius. This is not morbid, it is liberating. Memento mori, the remembrance of death, wakes us up. Why delay kindness? Why avoid the truth? Why waste one more hour? The Stoic lives as if this moment is his last, not to indulge in pleasure, but to sharpen his clarity. Because when you live like you're dying, you don't cling to comfort, you cling to purpose. And when the end comes, you meet it without panic, because you lived rightly. That is a man who dies without regret. 4th, detachment from outcome equals peace in action. Most people suffer not from failure, but from expectation. They want a reward for every good deed, a victory for every effort. But the Stoic strips this illusion away. You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Marcus Aurelius. You are not owed a result, only a right action. Let that sink in. If you were kind, honest, disciplined, fair, that's it. That's the win. Let go of what happens next. Let go of the applause. Let go of the outcomes. Because when you act from virtue, your inner scoreboard is the only one that matters. And when your standard is your soul, regret vanishes. 5. Build a self you can trust. We fear the future because we don't trust ourselves. We carry regret because we keep breaking the deals we make with our own minds. Discipline is not about suffering. It's about becoming someone you can believe in. First say to yourself what you would be, and then do what you have to do. Epictetus. It's hard to be happy if your actions disgust you. It's hard to feel peace if your word means nothing. The Stoic builds integrity one act at a time. He gets up when it's time. He trains his body. He speaks the truth. He delays pleasure. He honors his commitments. These aren't rules. They're a fortress. A fortress built so you can trust yourself to stand strong in the storm. Because nothing brings more happiness than a self you don't need to escape from. 6. Do not live for applause. It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more. That is poor. Seneca. Most regret is rooted in comparison, living for approval, measuring yourself by someone else's life. The Stoic rejects this. He doesn't chase admiration. He doesn't need recognition. He knows that living rightly is its own reward. He is not building a highlight reel. He is building a soul. Ask yourself, if no one ever knew, would I still do this? If the answer is yes, you're free. Because the man who lives for applause will regret every time the crowd moves on. But the man who lives for virtue, he can walk alone, smiling. 7. True happiness is found in contribution, not consumption. Pleasure fades, gratification decays, but the impact you make, that echoes. The Stoic lives in service to the common good, not as a martyr, but as a man who understands that the self alone is too small a kingdom to rule. What is not good for the swarm is not good for the bee. Marcus Aurelius. Who do you make stronger? Who do you lift? Who do you help breathe easier? This is not about being liked. This is about being useful. Because on your deathbed, you won't ask how many followers you had. You'll ask if your life mattered. Live today so that the answer is yes. Live today so that you die without regret. Conclusion, the final definition. So how does one become a happy man? Not by chasing ease, not by avoiding pain, not by chasing approval, but by walking a path of radical alignment between thought, word, and action. By becoming strong without pride. By becoming good without need for reward. By becoming grounded, not in fortune, but in virtue. That is a life without regret. That is the Stoic definition of happiness. That is the man we strive to become, and now the rest is practice.